the matter, Sammy? Well, hello tubers, I hope you guys are doing well. Today is a holiday in Canada called Victoria Day, named after the late Queen Victoria. It's a bit of a weird holiday today because normally everybody be out camping or traveling, but because many things are still closed, it's a pretty darn quiet holiday. But hey, the sun's shining, so what do I got to complain about? But today, as part of my consumer advocacy for you guys online, we're going to talk about charities and charitable giving. Because, let's face it, things are tough, they're getting tougher, and a lot of charities have a lot of need out there to provide for. Legitimately, of course. There's nothing wrong with charities and there's nothing wrong with charitable giving. But the problem arises with charitable deception, charitable fraud, and mismanaged charities that take advantage of people's willingness to give. Let me go through a few examples of how you can protect yourself and what's really going on in the charitable nonprofit industry. First of all, there's a lot of charities out there with cool sounding names, let's just say, that are affiliated with a lot of charities we'd be interested in helping out with. For example, firefighters, police officers, missing children. The list goes on and on. Now, what generally happens with charitable deception, or even charitable fraud, is that people form these nonprofit organizations that mimic the same names as some of the more successful charities that are out there. For example, the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I think many people are familiar with Make-A-Wish, where dying or sick children are granted wishes. Legitimate charity. Now, there are people out there that create charities that sound like them and solicit funds for their charity based on using a very, very similar name, which inevitably dupes people into giving, thinking that the money is going to the charity that they're thinking of, when in fact it is not. So always be careful when you hear a really cool sounding name and there's the word firefighter or police or missing children or sick children is somewhere in the title. Make sure it's the charity you think you're giving to. Which brings me to point number 2. All legitimate charities have their actual tax-exempt status listed on a government website somewhere in your state, province, or with the federal government. You can look this up online and you can see their exact status, what they're all about, and even look at their tax returns. I think that's only fair. If you're going to give anything substantial, do a little bit of homework and make sure you know who you're giving to. Third of all, a lot of people give to charities that are actually run very inefficiently. What I mean by that is a lot of the money that is donated mostly goes to expenses. Some of these charities actually burn up most of their revenue with consulting fees, lawyers, and wages, which it's kind of very tragic that happens. Some people actually just run nonprofit organizations to give themselves a nice fat salary. It's very, very legal to do that, but the ethics, that's up to you to decide whether people should be able to do that and whether you want to support those type of nonprofits where a lot of administrative costs just get eaten up. Which brings me back to the second point, that's why some charities mimic the names of more successfully run charities so that they can kind of ride on their coattails and people think that they're run just as efficiently when in fact they're not, and they're not even the same legal entity. Moving to my next point, quite often many charities rely on third parties to generate revenue for them through telemarketing or direct marketing or all sorts of different schemes. Often these people that generate this money for these charities, they take off the top a bit of profit and expenses for themselves and actually dilute how much money really goes into the coffers of the charity in the first place. Which, my suggestion, if you're ever approached on the phone or by mail to donate to a certain cause, be aware that some of that money that you're giving is just going to get burned up in terms of expenses. So you are far better off to actually find out who that charity is and give directly to that charity and eliminate these middlemen. That way your money is used more efficiently. And lastly, I don't like seeing people waste money, especially when it comes to charitable giving. So, why not look up to see what your charity of choice is doing financially? If most of its money is being burned up in terms of overhead and costs, and only a small percentage of the money that is generated goes to their actual charity, why even bother with that charity? It's just a bureaucracy, and you're just paying for wages and lawyers. I say find a different charity if they're run very inefficiently. Same with religious charities, for example. Why give money to a televangelist on TV who just is using the money to pay for a lavish lifestyle and a second jet? It's stupid. Why not give that money to your local church where you actually know where the money's being spent, and if there's any issue, you can call up your pastor or the treasurer of your church and say, hey, what's going on with that money? What are we doing with the money I'm giving you? So you got a lot more recourse, and at least the money is spent locally. So avoid televangelists on TV. Trust me, they can get a job like the rest of us. They don't need to be doing their little begging in the name of their God. It's ridiculous. And lastly, of course, we always got to remember all those e-beggars on YouTube who want you to work so that they don't have to. Why not completely avoid these hooligans and don't give them any money? Trust me, they can get a job just like you can, just like the rest of us, and they can pay their own way in life. But it always amazes me how many people are so silly with their money and giving it to people who don't need it. That's like saying charity for the rich or charity for the stupid. Why waste your money on people that truly don't need your money? It's foolish, but in the end, it is your money. You could burn it in a campfire if you want. I'm not going to stop you. So that's my rant for today. I'm going to enjoy this beautiful sunny day and just chill. Hope you guys are doing well wherever you are. I'll talk to you soon. Over and out.